Dark Side of the Ring made its triumphant return this week. One of the many great shows in the history of professional wrestling, documenting the history of professional wrestling. How great is it that we have two going on right now? We got the A&E biography series. Now we got Dark Side of the Ring back. And Dark Side of the Ring is back jam-packed this year. This season, whatever the fuck. 16, I think 14 or 16 episodes this year. It's like an extended season 3. There's a season 3 part 1 and a season 3 part 2, I do believe. And this is a fantastic show. If you're not watching this show, if you haven't watched Dark Side of the Ring yet, you're sleeping on this one. What the fuck are you doing with your life, man? Are you sleeping on wiping your ass after you take a poo in the morning too? This season kicked off with Brian Pillman. Flying Brian Pillman, or the loose cannon Brian Pillman, whatever you want to call it. And man, they just nailed it. Knocked it out of the goddamn park again. Dark Side of the Ring, these two guys, they're just two gentlemen that produced this show. They bust their ass by all accounts. They really work hard. They do just a great, great job with this whole thing. They're telling great stories. They're being honest. They're being fair. They're finding a way to give you the dirt like we complained about with the Macho Man gimmick, but at the same time be able to do it in kind of a classy way, or at least just a professional way, matter-of-factly, with no agenda. Brian Pillman was a hell of a story. This character, the loose cannon specifically, because the Flying Brian run was a good run, and he was a talented guy, but he was just a guy on the roster, really, for the most part. Hollywood Blondes were cool, but they weren't around that long. I thought they were cool. I was always a Steve Austin fan, and when him and Brian teamed up, I was a kid. I remember that, and I remember liking them. As a heels, they were heels. I didn't dislike the heels. I liked the heels. They were cool heels. Cool heels. But the whole loose cannon thing, him showing up in ECW, getting ready to piss on the ring, fighting fans, trying to fight fans, whatever the fuck. The story that they told, this guy was ready to take on the wrestling world. He was possibly going to be Stone Cold before Stone Cold was Stone Cold. He was on that path as a guy with the edge and the attitude and the rebellious spirit to usher in the Attitude Era by himself, or right along with Steve. Their rise in WWF was kind of at the same time, which speaks a lot to the pairing of the Hollywood Blondes. But that car accident fucked him up, man. That shit ended his career, and it ended it in his absolute prime. He would have made so many more millions. Assuming that he still stayed alive and shit too, but a lot of the painkiller use and stuff was because of the legs. So, I don't know. I'm not an expert. Take it all with a grain of salt. Exactly, how that would have played out. But I saw nothing but big things in the future of Brian Pillman. And the whole contract thing, the whole way that he got out of it with WCW. I actually have a clip here that I do want to play. A little bit of a crossover here from the 83 Weeks podcast, where Eric Bischoff was actually talking about Brian Pillman this week. And he was talking about that contract situation. Talking about where he kind of scoffs at, not getting worked. Whereas, in the Dark Side of the Ring, people are outwardly laughing that, yeah, he worked Eric Bischoff. But did he, though? Listen to this clip.
Well, let's talk about Pillman here. Did you think, as it explains in that episode that everyone will see this Thursday, that he was ever going to come back?
The most honest answer I can give is I believed he would.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that he would. I wasn't 100% confident that he would, but I believed that he would. And here's the flip side. I also, did the calculus in my own head that if he did, it would be great. But if he didn't, it wouldn't be the end of the world either. Right. So I was in a position where I had nothing to lose by creating the opportunity and hoping that it worked out the way we wanted it to, or I believed it would. But it wasn't like a big risky move. to be honest. And that's just being honest. And by no means am I disrespecting how important Brian Pillman was and the impact that he had on the industry. But we were in a position at that time where I would win either way.
I don't think he did play Bischoff because Bischoff was willing to let him go because he couldn't afford him. So are you really playing Eric to get a release? If Eric really wanted him, would he be releasing him? I mean, this is two different opinions. There was that other old guy who was like Pillman's coach or some shit. He kind of seemed like a douchebag. He was all like, nah, you just fucking go in there and you work them both. But was he working Bischoff? If Bischoff's like, hey, man, I'm not willing to pay you what you're asking. So if you can get it in WWE, go get it. And then when you want to come back, you'll be a bigger star, and then I can pay you more money. Think about that. How is he getting worked there? If he's getting worked, talked out of his release, why would he tell him, I don't want to pay you what you're asking for? You can go sign somewhere else if you like. To me, that sounds a lot like, hey, see you later, buddy. And not a lot like, oh, I hope he comes back. Ah. I mean, it could have been a master plan all from the beginning between the two. It could have been a work to fuck over Eric and make him think that he was going to come back so that he could leave. That could be the case, but he wasn't going to get paid what he wanted to get paid anyway, so he was probably going to leave anyway. So I don't get it. I don't get that whole part of it necessarily. I think it's just another one of those ways out there that people just want to try to find a way to bury Eric Bischoff because he was the boss and he lost the war, so he's easy to bury. And everybody has a reason to want to bury him. But I think it's all a bunch of hooey-fooey, in my opinion. But the rest of it, this Dark Side of the Ring thing, they're really onto something. Obviously, they're on their third season, for fuck's sake. But this is right up there with all of them. This is great quality. This is an in-depth, real, raw look at the man, his entire life, the ins and outs, his ex-wife and his current wife and his kids from 3 different baby mamas and the suicide and oh my God, just what a fucking story. You got Brian Pillman Jr. on there with his mullet in all of its glory. Highly recommend going to check this out. The first 2 hours, 2 parts, dropped this past week for Brian Pillman. But you can catch new episodes every single Thursday. Those are going to be on Vice.
Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.